And we're live. Welcome, everyone, to as I'm labeling it, episode one of the Rican show. I've been, for people who are new to my channel, I've actually been making videos now for almost 2 years. But I've finally dedicated to do a weekly live stream. So every Wednesday, and depending how things go, it may become more, but we'll see where it goes. Trying to give, since I'm live, I'm trying to give people a chance to sign in. I mean, excuse me, sign in, just to log on and check it out. So let's give people a few minutes to get on. I'm not gonna. I'll just ramble on. Okay. We're at 1 minute. I see I have one viewer on YouTube. Thank you for coming on. Well, I did. Okay, well, like I said, I was giving people a chance to get on. Let's get on with the show. Hopefully people pop on. If not, they can watch the replay. But here we go. Let's first. I have to address the biggest story that happened while I was away on my hiatus. Well, two of the biggest stories. I'm going to start with first with I'm going to just show the image of this dreadful, dreadful image with this. So yeah, so you can see here. This is the. I'm going to start with this because this speech. I'm actually going to go through some of the speech, but I had to put these two images side by side just so you could see. I mean, whoever told Biden the optics of this speech were great need to be fired. That's my opinion, because this was the dumbest, especially with the content of the speech and the divisiveness that he spoke with, to have such uh, an evil looking background. And there's people who are supporting this and saying they don't see nothing wrong with it. I don't know how you can't. The minute I saw this speech, I thought of V for Vendetta because I love that movie. Okay, and that I immediately thought of the High Chancellor, and you can see the image there. I mean, it's. Let's see if I'll make it. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you guys, so you guys can see it. Um, no, that's the best that'll go. Is that big? But as you can see, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how um, just how demented, how evil looking that picture is. And then let's go through. Let's see. Let's go through his some of his speech. That's what I want to do. Let me stop this. Let me share the article where I found his speech window. And I'll click on it. It was right here. But just in case for people, that was my link tree where you could find me on all social media. You could find me on all the social medias. I have Gab, Twitter, Facebook, Telegram. I have all those platforms. I even have Truth now. I have to add Truth to that link tree. So if you're on Truth, you could just search for me. But here is this the one here? No, that's his previous speech. Here is a little bit of the transcript of some of the stuff that this guy was saying. Um, he's talking about he talked about MAGA Republicans, and this is the whole thing. If you see some of this speech, he's talking about MAGA Republicans. He's talking about he goes how MAGA extremism is a danger to democracy. Okay, and when I saw this, this is what came into mind. He's trying to purge the people, and I use that word in particular, is people that disagree with him and his agenda. Okay, because here's the whole thing: if we're not a danger to democracy, we're just people who vote, and we're just people who disagree with him. But it's kind of like what was going on with the vaccine mandates. If you ever went to like places, and I remember, like, I know I'm not going to say the hospital's name, but the hospital I take my son to says we're proud to have 100% vaccination status. And I look at that and I go, yeah, how did you get to 100%? You fired a bunch of people to get to 100% compliance. The people who didn't comply, you got rid of them. So in turn, this is how I took the speech. Is like he wants to get rid of the people that don't agree with him. Now he wants to just say that, he wants to throw out terms there to put fear in the American people. He wants to put the fear into liberals, into lefties, into independents to support his agenda. That's what he did. That's what he did with that speech. It's just fear mongering. And it's not the first time. I mean, just a couple of days before that speech, Biden called MAGA extremists semi-fascist. Here's the irony behind him calling people, calling MAGA people extremists and calling them semi-fascist, when what's come up also in the summer. Mark Zuckerberg was on the Joe Rogan show. What did Mark Zuckerberg say in the Joe Rogan show? The FBI came and told him there was going to be Russian disinformation, so to make them aware, so they would, wink, wink. You should, watch out for the Russian misinformation, so you could purge it. And what happened? You had the Hunter Biden story that the media said was Russian disinformation. They blocked it from Twitter. They blocked it from Facebook. You couldn't even share the story. And here we are now 2 years later, and now they tell us, oh no, that's not, it's true. It did happen. How's the other way they label us extremists? They say that, if you question the election, I don't question the election. People voted. Now, were there irregularities? Were there stuff like this stuff that was passed that should have been deemed unconstitutional, but the courts didn't want to touch it in the middle of the election cycle? Like, let's say, they act like voter fraud's not a real thing. And they use Latinos and Morenos, Latinos and blacks, as political weapons. Because what do? They say that voter ID, to have to present an ID to vote, is racist. Because what? Because blacks and Latinos, we don't have IDs in our wallets. I mean, it's ludicrous. But they want to make it easier to cheat. I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. They want to make it easier to cheat. They don't want to make it easier to vote. They want to make it easier to cheat. Because if you can't show an ID, then how do you buy? Let's say people who drink. How do you buy beer? People will buy cigarettes. How do you buy cigarettes? Okay, even cough medicine. You can't buy cough medicine without showing an ID. You can't buy spray paint without showing ID. You can't open a bank account. You can't buy a car. Without an ID, there's not much you could do in our society. I mean, granted, there is things you could do, but you're very limited in the functions that you could do without an ID. But they use us as cover, and that's why, like I said, I said on Instagram before I came on here, I'm going to have some people from the Lexit movement, because Latinos, blacks, stop selling out your vote. And why do I call it selling out? Because all you do is in big cities, like my hometown of New York, you have Eric Adams, who is a horrible mayor. He's not as bad as de Blasio yet, but he's bad in his own right. You just vote these people in. People forget who cleaned up New York. Who cleaned up New York? New York was a shit show. New York, the crime's getting almost as bad as it was in New York. Sorry, I just got to answer this. So, New York was bad. I grew up in the 80s during the crack epidemic. As a kid, we used to collect. Anyone about my cohort will remember doing this. We used to collect the crack vials, the tips, because they had them in different colors, and we'd sort the colors out. That was fun for us. That was a game. Okay. But in the 90s, Giuliani came and cleaned up New York City. I understand that, it's messed up that someone can't get out of jail because they can't pay bail. But how is it that someone could commit a crime, get locked up, come out, commit another crime, get locked up, come back out, and do this like 5 or 6 times in one day, and they can't be kept in jail? Look, guilty until proven innocent until proven guilty. I get it. But if you've been arrested 5 times, in one day, you're obviously someone that's up to no good. There's no reason that you need, cashless bail. I mean, make it make sense. But this is the stuff that passes as extremism. Saying, let's say securing our border, saying that's extremism. I could show you videos. I didn't bring it up. I didn't pull it up. Pre-Trump, where Democrats like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi preached building a border wall. But once Trump broke the Democrats. It's basically everything Trump was for, they had to be against. Okay. The joke was Trump could cure cancer and they would blame him for killing the cancer industry. And like I said, then you have like people who go election comments. Election. Vanessa, I just saw your comment here. Let me go through some of the comments here because I don't want to. Since we're in topic here, she put, minorities are scared to vote Republican because we are afraid of the unknown. And that is true to an extent, because like I said, in New York City, which I'll link this with what also Autism Mom says, she put New York City doesn't check ID, which is wrong. When you vote, they should check your ID. Yo, Don, you coming on? But yeah, so yes, there are places where people are scared to vote Republican because they don't know. But here's the whole thing. You have New York City as an example. All you had was Democrat mayors. Giuliani came in 8 years. Did he do a third term? He was 2 or 3 terms. I forget. But Giuliani came in, cleaned the city. And all right, no problem. Next time. Giuliani came in, cleaned the city. At that time in New York in the 90s, you had Giuliani that was a Republican. You had Pataki, who was the governor, who was also Republican. And they helped fix the state. He was 3 terms. Thanks, Don. You had 3. He had 3. So you had Republican mayor, Republican governor. They helped clean the city, clean the state, made the state healthy. And then people forget. So it's not only about the unknown, about being afraid of the unknown. They also neglect to learn from history because they forget that just 20 you know what, when 2022. So just let's say 25 years ago. Now, I grant if you're under the 25, you're obviously not going to remember it. But even if you're early 30s, you still might not know it. But Republicans helped clean up, New York City. Giuliani, his broken windows theory. You may not like it. You may not like locking up people for petty shit, but it works. The reason it works is because a lot of these people who do petty crimes, like let's say jumping turnstiles or smoking weed on the corner, people who have the brashness to do this stuff tend to do other things. So if you catch someone for running the turnstile, you grab them, you do a search, you may come up with a worse crime that person committed. Now, I'm not saying someone jumps the turnstile, you need to arrest them, put them in jail for a weekend, but you bring them into the station, make sure they have no priors. They have no priors, you let them go. You give them a ticket with a fine. But if you bring them in, and what if he's a murder suspect? What if he's a rapist suspect? What if he did armed robbery? What if he has a gun on him? But that's how the broken windows theory worked. And it helped clean up New York. But we're going back in New York City, we're going back to the 70s and the 80s with all the crime that's going on. So that's my rant about New York and minorities choosing. Latinos, we need to not sell out our vote, and we need a change. We need a real change, not hope and change. Okay, like Obama sold with his, he was a good salesman with that hope and change. All he did was continue the same shit that Bush did, especially foreign policy wise. Domestic policy, different story. He didn't do the Bush stuff. But foreign policy, he was Bush 2.0. Drone strikes, killing American citizens overseas, and the media gave him a pass. That was one of the things that majorly woke me up was all the shit that Obama was doing overseas. If that was Bush, the media would have had a field day. Same thing now, like the stuff that goes on with the stuff that Biden does. If Trump did it, forget about it. Forget about it. But like I said, I was going to say about when it comes to elections, this itch here, like other Democrats, Biden pointed out to election denial as being extreme. Okay. But I'm not going to play this whole 10-minute video. You could see here, like it says here, 10 minutes of Democrats denying election results. I'm just going to play a minute so you guys can hear this witch and other people talking.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
So how can you win with Russian interference?
That's a real
what I'm
thing.
scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Could you be my vice president for candidate? Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put in office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see the president-elect as a legitimate president.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. And we have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
I have an objection.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object because people are horrified.
He's an illegitimate president.
Do you believe Trump is a legitimate president?
What I believe is that there's no question that the outcome of this election was.
So election denial Doesn't just go with Trump. This is just 10 minutes. I'm assuming with all Trump stuff. Okay. 2000. I'm gonna go back to my lifetime. In my lifetime, my first election was 2000. Okay, I voted in Nader. So just so people could see, I'm my my evolution when it comes to politics. I didn't like neither Gore nor Bush. Okay, I'm even till now, like I call myself the right Rican. I lean right. I'm saying not to vote Democrat. But in New York, I'm pushing the Republicans. Like right now, I'm pushing Lee Zeldin for governor because you need a change in New York. I mean, I wish I could say same thing with Gavin Newsom in California, but that's I don't know. I'm gonna have someone from California on in a month, and we'll discuss Gavin Newsom and his horrible policies. But yeah, so I mean, so in 2000, let's start with 2000 with Bush v. Gore, and them, saying that Bush wasn't a legitimate president. He wasn't duly elected. Okay, same thing happened in 2004 with Kerry versus Bush. Obviously, when they win with Obama, everything's fine. There's no shenanigans going on when a Democrat wins. And then obviously Bush, you hear me? Trump in 2016. Okay, that's what goes on. They always question elections, and the minute now, no Republicans question. They may have questioned Obama's citizenship, but they never questioned that he won. Okay, but this is what they're doing. So he's labeling everything that you disagree with him. It's extremism. It's fascism. But they use media. Media is their lapdog. You could see leaks that goes on in the media. Everything, all Trump's negative stuff goes on the media. They don't hide any of the negative stuff of Trump. Biden, they'll do a blip about Hunter Biden and his laptop from hell. Project Veritas will get arrested for obtaining Biden's daughter's diary, and nothing happens. It's just like a little blip on the news. They don't talk about what's the contents in the diary, where his daughter talks about inappropriate showers with her father at inappropriate age. I mean, here's another article of over 150 examples showing Democrats denying election results. I mean, she's number one there. The president of Earth. Notice I'm rolling my eyes because I'm a Star Trek fan, but when they did that bullshit, I was just there like, really? I mean, she swore she was the duly elected governor of Georgia, and I hope she loses again. But this is what, people go, it's just because, it's just Trump. Trump's a horrible guy. Trump is the devil incarnate. And I get it, you guys who, you guys have bought everything the media has sold. But here's the thing, you go, it's just Trump, it's just Trump. No, it's not just Trump. Because now they're going to use MAGA they're going to use MAGA against all Republicans, against every Republican. So if and I'll give example, the best example of this is Ron DeSantis. Okay, because Ron DeSantis has been picking up his profile. He ran Florida great during the pandemic, and they never give him credit for it. They gave, Mr. Sexual Harassment himself, Andrew Cuomo, they gave him a pass. He's the best governor. He sent sick patients back to nursing homes. And, if a patient died at a hospital, even though they were sent there from the nursing home, it didn't count as a nursing home death. Okay. So Ron DeSantis opened up his state early, opened up schools early. But if here's some searches where I try to click on this article, but they won't. It's a pay article, so I couldn't get it. It goes here: why Ron DeSantis stands like Donald Trump, the truth. So it's all negative stories. So here's one. It goes: Ron DeSantis is going full Trump. Going full Donald Trump won't work. And like I said, it's all attack stories because they want to stop. Because if Trump, a Trump DeSantis 2024 ticket is going to be, I would say it's hard to beat, because then you would have his successor to go in 2028. And we need someone with balls. And these are two people who have big cojones. For people who don't speak Spanish, cojones is balls. Vanessa says, I think Trump could have been an okay president if he checked his ego and wasn't ranting like a maniac on social media. He came off as a mentally unstable president. Yes, I'm going to say yes, he was way too much on social media. I think it cost him because it fed fuel. It gave red meat to the media to be able to attack him. But as much as it was it was one of his worst qualities, it was also one of his best qualities because he was able to get his message out. Because that's the whole thing. Like, I'll give you an example. During the beginning of the pandemic, okay, Trump's had some of his best approval ratings because what was going on was he was having his live updates. He would talk, and the media had no choice in the beginning to post these videos. But after they saw that he was getting a bump from people getting a chance to actually listen to him instead of hearing secondhand what he said, he got a bump in his approval ratings. Then, here was one of his problems. He, if he saw something, read something, he had to talk about it. So, that's what got him trouble, like with ivermectin, for example, hydrochloroquine. He saw stuff that said, oh, this, it's shown to have an effect. What effect? We don't know. Now we know an article came out saying that, ivermectin is 90% effective against reducing COVID deaths. Now, hopefully YouTube doesn't try to tell me, I'm giving out COVID misinformation, but I saw the title of the article. But that's the whole thing. Yes, he has an ego. He has an ego. But honestly, you're not going to get someone who is willing to run for president, someone who's going to go into political office that doesn't have some sort of ego. Even Biden, has an ego. That's why you see him when he starts yelling, and that's his ego. That's his ego getting pumped up, and he's going, "Oh, look at me! I could, I could talk. I could, he could. Oh, I could actually speak today. So, my Adderall is kicking in, so I could actually talk. He's my president, my governor, my mayor." So yeah, so these are some things I wanted to touch on because I missed. Like I said, this is some stuff I missed. One of the biggest stories I missed on my hiatus was the Mar-a-Lago raid. Is this it up here? And look, listen. The left and the media, they love to paint Trump as a dictator, as a fascist, a Führer, whatever. Every evil name in the book, they try to paint him. They bitched when he at the debates, he told Hillary that she'd be in jail if he was president. Where's Hillary? I don't see her in jail. I didn't see Biden pardoning her because he didn't go after his political opponent. What's Biden doing? What did Biden do? He's using the DOJ, the FBI to go after his political enemies. That's what this is. They have a hard on for this guy. Excuse me for being vulgar with that. They have it so in for him. Okay. It's like the Attorney General of New York. You're supposed to see a crime and then find the suspect. But Letitia James, she was like, we're going to get Trump. We're going to basically, she's like, we're going to find something to get on him. And that's what so they're investigating this guy, any little tidbit that they could find, they put out there. They don't filter it whatsoever. So, I mean, that raid to me, it's like he was president. He grabbed documents. He didn't keep them in a server where it could be hacked. It's just papers in his house that he has in lock and key. Secret Service came and locked it up. That's the crazy thing. And they were negotiating, but the media needed a distraction. They needed a distraction. Oh, see, stuff that Roe versus Wade got overturned. Let me not put let me just stop this screen share for a second. Roe versus Wade was overturned while I was on my summer hiatus. And look, it doesn't matter where you stand on abortion, whether you're pro-choice, pro-life. It was the right decision. Okay. Democrats they had 1972? So they had 50 years to pass legislation to make Roe versus Wade the law of the land. But they got lazy. They used the courts, and the courts screwed them over. They had plenty of times when there was Democrat majorities, they could have passed laws and they didn't. Okay. It was never important to them. They just use it as a campaign wedge issue. Okay. There's nothing extreme about it. I personally, look, I'm pro-choice. But to a point, I believe there should be restrictions. Look, my son was born at 24 weeks, 6 months. Okay. When my son was born, here's his water bottle. Okay. That was the size of my son. My son was 1 pound, 9 ounces. 24 weeks. My son turned 15 this summer. So up until that point, I was pro-choice up to 6 months. After birth of my son, I changed it to 3. And I'm not, but what's going on is some of these states have passed, some states have passed ridiculously liberal abortion laws, like New York State and California also, and some other states. They have that you could have an abortion up to the point of birth. Okay. Now, granted, the mother's life is in danger, in actual danger, and she needs that, and the baby can't be induced without killing the mother. Totally understand. There's no point. Rape, I get it. Incest, no, I get it. I'll give you these exceptions. But don't tell me that, I'm depressed. I don't want to have my baby. Nah, you taking a life. You're taking a life. Don't come with that bullshit. But that's what's going, so that's some of the stuff that happened this summer. And I mean, it was a crazy summer. It was a crazy summer with stuff that went on. But this is what we're living through. I mean, the gas prices, Here's another one. The gas prices rocketed up. They're starting to come down because Biden's been dipping into the strategic oil reserve. Okay? He's trying to bribe you with your own money. That's what he's trying to do. Okay? Because he's, put that oil on the market that's supposed to be our emergency reserves to prop up the Democrats' chances in the midterms. Because what's going to happen after the midterms, the prices are going to go back up because he's going to have to refill those reserves. Because obviously he doesn't want to increase production, but that's where we're at. He's there, doing that. He's there forgiving loans that a president, Pelosi had said last year that Biden couldn't do it without Congress. And here he is. But what's he doing? He's using your own money to buy your vote. It's easy. Look, it's easy to get elected promising you free shit. But somebody got to pay for it. For giving that loan, someone has to pay for it. And it's the taxpayer. It's coming out of your pocket. So for you non-college graduates who have a job, you're paying it. You didn't go to college because you didn't want to take out a loan, but guess what? Now you have one. Now you have one. But this is what so like I said, it's easy to say free. Oh, you should have free healthcare. Oh, you should have free housing. You should have free. It's easy to say that when they're using your own money to buy your vote. It's hard to go, look, imagine a political candidate coming out like this and go, hey, we maxed out our credit card. Okay? As a country, we're maxing out our credit card. We need to tighten our budgets. Okay? We're going to have to cut stuff because we got to pay that credit card bill. That bill is going to have to come. Okay? That bill is going to have to be paid. But it's hard to go, okay, then what we cut? Because nobody wants stuff taken out of their pocket. But so which way is it easier to win? Promising you free stuff where they keep putting it on the credit card? Or the person coming and telling you, no, we're going to have to, cut services. We're going to have to, take money away from here because we got to pay other stuff. It's much easier to win the other way. Jen put, I wish the American people would realize all the money the government has come from the people, not from their own bank accounts. We pay them to use the money we give them. Yeah, let me put that there. Yeah, there you go. I wish the American people realize all the money the government has come from the people, not from their own bank accounts. We pay them to use the money we give them. Exactly. It's our money. They're basically taking money from your pocket, giving it back to you and going, hey, look at what we gave you. No, it's your money. It was your money to begin with. That's when they go, well, tax break for rich people. It's it's taking money away from everybody else. No, the government takes the money from everybody. When you give these rich people tax breaks, the most part, not everyone, invests in stuff where it's good for the country. Government is crappy when it comes to money. Look at the budgets. We will always deficit spending. That's why our credit cards are maxing out. We never, as a country, we don't live. We haven't been debt free as a country since I think it's 1820, since Andrew Jackson was president. Okay, That's how long it's been that the U.S. has been in debt. And after we created the Federal Reserve and the IRS, but that's so. I mean, that's where we're at. So to put here, I'm gonna put Vanessa's comment up. There it goes. Minorities are scared to vote Republicans because we are afraid of the unknown. I've moved like 5 or 6 times in my life. And this is all after I turned 18, because I lived in the same house with my parents growing up. We lived in the same place all my life. But I lived in Texas. I lived in Texas for 6 years. Loved it. I loved Texas. My wife got, my wife's family never came to visit, so she missed her family. So we moved back close enough where we could visit them, far enough that I won't go crazy being back in New York, because I can't live in New York anymore. I drive there and I can't wait to get out. I really can't. I wish I could. I can't live in New York anymore. It's changed so much. But minorities, like I said, blacks, Latinos, stop it. Stop it. Okay? Stop selling out your vote to one party. Be a free agent. And stop falling for the free bullshit that, people like AOC and Bernie Sanders sells you. And also, I want to point this story out, because I'm a big supporter of Jews. A Jewish Holocaust survivor gave me my first job under the table as a kid. Okay, and since I have people from New York, let me. Beware, a new wave of anti-Semitism is sweeping the country. Sweeping New York City. And here's the thing. Why isn't it a big story? Why isn't this a big story? Because white people aren't doing it. Okay? Who's doing the attacking of the Jews in New York City? Blacks and Latinos. Same thing. There's an increase in Asian attacks. Same thing. Who attacked them? Blacks and Latinos. Okay. There's a problem when we can't address these issues and they want to blame it on white people. Okay. We're doing it. Blacks, Latino, not me, not you who's listening. But there's blacks and Latinos out there who are attacking Jews, attacking Asians out of, hate. And we need to call it out in our own community. Our own communities, we need to call this out. Someone I'm going to be having on, her name is, she on Instagram, she goes as No Me Calles. I'm going to have her on October 4th, I believe. She did a Instagram video where she called out a racist Republican. And I told her, well said, because you know what? Doesn't matter. If we're going to call out the racism on the left, we have to call out the racists on our own side. Okay? But that's the whole thing. Left, the people, Democrats, people on the left, they don't see their racism. They have a soft bigotry of low expectations for us. Let me see. Let's see what Vanessa says. The money given hasn't even used to pay the bills. It went to getting expensive sneakers and clothes, and then go to the HRA to get their bills paid off. I used to know people, and they talk about college loans and all this stuff. I knew people who would go to college, get grants to go to college, get it paid, drop out, keep maybe one class so they could get that. Then instead of the government who paid the college, the money would go back to their pockets. What kind of nonsense is that? But yeah, I mean, people were using their stimulus checks to do that stuff. And they talked about they love to talk about January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. But what about all the riots that happened in the summer of 2020? What about all the stores that were robbed, the people that were killed? They love the Democrats and the media. They love that political violence. They gave them cover. CNN, remember, it was a CNN that had there was a fire in the background, and they called it mostly peaceful protests. But that's when they support a cause, they will they'll hide any blemishes in it. So you have to be discerning when you read these articles. You have to read between the lines, because you're never going to get, doesn't matter whether you're Fox News, CNN, New York Post, New York Times. If you're only reading one side, you're getting half the story. So please educate yourselves. Please go on both sides. Please. And if you're in New York City, open your friends up. Look, you already lost, and especially my friends in New York City, you already lost the mayor. So screw it. There ain't nothing you can do about that. Okay? But change the governor. Hochul is a piece of crap. Okay? She's tyrannical, just like her predecessor. Get someone else in. You want to try to clean up the crime in New York City? The governor supersedes the mayor, and the governor could get rid of those corrupt George Soros DAs, like Alan Bragg. Do the country a favor and get her out and start cleaning up New York. It's my hometown. Even though I can't go there right now, I can't, I hate going there just because of the way everything is. It drives me nuts. But my heart your heart always belongs to your hometown, usually. And I want to see it. I want to see it get better. I want to be able to go back, visit my parents, visit friends, and, not feel a certain way when I get there. You got people driving like motorcycles going the wrong way. You know how many times I've almost hit people on scooters because, cops don't give a shit. They don't write these people tickets. Shouldn't say that they don't care. It's just the fact that nothing's going to be done. Nothing's going to be done. So, I mean, what else can I say? So I'm gonna leave it there. It's almost 9:00, and even though I could keep going on and on and on, because I'm a talker, I love to talk. I just want to thank the people who commented. I appreciate your participation. You know what? Let me throw. I think. Well, yeah, I could do this. For the people who are on, how would you like to? If you're down, I'll send you a link, and you could come on the channel. Give your opinion, not on type, but you could give your opinion on camera. Are any of you interested? I'll give you a second to answer. I don't want to leave too much dead air, so I don't want to leave too much dead air. Okay, let me see. Let's see if I think the two people on. Let's see. Here we go. I'm gonna, let's see. There we go. I'm gonna. No, I'm camera shy. Okay. Let's see. Well, you wouldn't have to put. You don't have to put your. You don't have to put your camera. You could put just like the default, and you could talk like you're on the phone. Let's see. I'll say the same thing, Jen. You don't have to put your camera on. You could just talk like you're talking on the phone. You don't have to show your image. Let's see. I'll message you the Jennifer. Oh, wait a minute. I can't do it this way. I'm here trying to do it on my phone. It'll get smoother. It'll get smoother as I go along. I'll work the bugs out, but I'm hoping people will participate. I don't. I love to talk, so I like to get people's feedbacks. We don't have to agree. Someone I was doing before I took my hiatus, I was doing a show with another Latino, and he's an atheist. I'm not, and we may disagree on that, but we agreed on other stuff. So let's see. Hey Jen, like I said, I just sent you the link. So if you want, you could hop on, give your 2 cents. You don't have to put your camera. You don't have to put your image. I think it even gives you an option of changing your name, so you don't have to keep the name on there. So Jen, are you gonna try? Are you trying to get us to use it tonight? If so, I can do it another time. I have been sick all day. Okay, no problem, Jen. Next time, I'll open it up. I'll do that. I'll open it up at the end of the when I want to toward the end of the show. I'll open it up to see whoever wants to come on. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. Even if I have guests, I'll pop people on if they're cool. If not, when I get off with the guest, I'll open the show for people who are watching to give an I want to give incentive to people to watch. So next time, hopefully you feel better next week and you'll have an opinion. I have someone next week. Next week, yeah, next week I'll have someone on from Lexit in Texas, and she lives near where I used to live in the Dallas suburbs. So she's a member of Lexit. And okay, well, so like I said, I'll open the floor. I see someone else popped on. So if they want to hop on in, let me know. I'll send them a link. You know what? How about this? Yeah, fellow. Well, she's originally from New Mexico, and but she now lives in she lives in the southern Dallas suburbs, not like where I used to live in the North Dallas suburbs. So I just put it up there on YouTube for whoever wants to hop on. You know what? With that being said, before I do that, let me not Gmail. Yeah, no, I should check my sometimes because since I said I'm live streaming on Rumble, but I don't know if I'm getting Rumble comments. So I know. Let me just check I just want to check my Rumble real quick and see if there's anybody. But like I said, I put the link to the show if you want to come on and give your opinion before I sign off. You're welcome to hop on and give your two takes, your 2 cents. All right. No, come on. What the hell's going on here? I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, spam. All right. Well, if you for the people who watched, I thank you. Appreciate you taking time out to listen to me, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a good week.